I didn't realize, Nathaniel Mitchell, I covered him at Oakwood. He always wanted to be a coach. What was it about him that, appealed to you?
Well, we've had him in our system a few years ago with the 905. He also was, a part of my staff with Canada, the national team too. So we've gotten, to know each other a little bit over the last couple summers. And, we had some movement this year. So we talked about bringing him back. So he's a good young coach. We're trying to develop him. He's got some bright future. Got to get a little more experience. Got some things to learn, et cetera. But we're trying to, help him develop his career. You're welcome. That's an automatic technical. The wave off.
Delano, I was asking Delano just about the level of focus you have for your travel on freshman at the 3-point line and testing 3-point shots. And I think just in preseason, the big Warriors are just like 6 a game, 35. So with I'm just wondering where that ranks in terms of your priorities as a defensive coach.
Well, you're talking about the defensive end, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, we believe in trying to make our opponents take contested shots. I think you and I have been through this before a few times. We also know that you got to protect the rim and my stance on that is we got to do both, right? We've got to guard the rim and we've got to make the threes as contested. So it's part of our core belief and philosophy and stuff we work on every day.
And you've had some success like blocking threes that are relatively high range. I mean, has that success you've had in other years with contributing to that, staff and things to that, is it kind of informed a little bit? Maybe if we're going to be defending 43 tonight, let's block more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of icing on the cake when you get a block. I think I'm really more concerned that we're making a heavy contest. Obviously, the block is the heaviest of all contests, right? We just want to make sure we're making a heavy contest. I think it goes to hustle and hard play, not giving up on, you got to keep playing out the whole possession. Sometimes you have to fire out. Every now and then you get put in rotations and some teams are really good and make you fire up, but you got to do it, right? That's again, that's just an effort and hustle thing that we want the heavy contest. And yeah, Chris has certainly got a knack, incredible timing on that stuff. And I'm not sure it's like teachable or transferable. I think there's something in there where he knows when to stop running and take off, to get a piece of some of those. It's because he gets some of them like well after they're gone. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's maybe right there, but he's the timing that he's got as a shot blocker on some of those is unique. I think somebody else used to do that. James Johnson or somebody used to get a block a lot. It was just a kind of a unique timing thing. We're just what we teach and what we're focused on, what we drill every day is heavy contesting.
How about at the other end before you got off it? Are you getting up enough or?
Well, I think Doug, the offense is still really a work in progress. I would say that if you were looking at it, strictly by the numbers a little bit, we have some goals of the kind of shots we're going to get. I would say some of those goals are being reached. We are getting to the rim, a good, pretty high number. We're always trying to do that. We're always trying to get the corner threes. We're probably a little low on that. We're probably a little up on the arc threes. We're probably way up on the non-paint twos and the paint twos. Usually we're talking about limiting those. We're a little higher at those right now. But again, I'm seeing some progress. Like a week or so ago, you and I were talking about it, and I was like, man, we got to get to work. We've been emphasizing defense. We got to get to work, but we did. And I think it transferred pretty good. I think we I think we went to Washington the other night. We had something like 77% of our buckets were assisted. That's like, I don't know if I've ever seen it that high before. Probably has if I looked it up, but that felt like a really, really high number. So some of the work on the offense, I think, is getting taken to the floor. But yeah, I think there's still lots of tweaking and polishing and things like that, just on the basic philosophy of what we're trying to do, for sure.
Tweak also personnel. Maybe you don't have a lot of 3-point shooters.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with, why we've shot the three and the volume we've shot them. I'm okay with that. I think that, again, we've had guys in pretty aggressive mindsets, right? I would say that, there's some things that we've probably again done or that we're still cleaning up that we probably would not like to happen. Just, I don't know, when you have a couple, 2 or 3 non-paint touch shots in a row going up, well, you can't take a fourth and a fifth one, right? We've had some streaky moments of just a little too quick and a little, driving it into 17 feet after no paint touch and taking a challenge shot. Those are the things we got to clean up, things like that.
The other night you did talk about turnovers, points off turnovers. 32 points off 30 turnovers was a bad ratio.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It should be a little better, right? Yeah.
Like a 1.5, 0.7, like per turnover. Like, do you have a number?
Well, I want 2 points off every turnover, Doug. So 30 turnovers should be 60. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, one over 1 point is not, it's above average, actually. I just again, I just would like to take that higher, maybe 1.3 or 1.4, until we can get up to that, double the number. Again, that goes to a little bit. I think our spacing needs some work after in transition, just in general. I think, again, it's a good problem because guys are running. They're sometimes they're so eager to run after we get it that they're running on top of each other sometimes. And you got to understand there's somebody in that lane already, and you got to take a different lane, and that'll clean some of that up. But yeah, we're trying to work on some of that too.
Do you have any memories of what it was? What are your memories of trying to coach against Goron and sort of his craftiness and let's say griminess maybe? What was it like to coach that?
Yeah, my things were this. I always thought, for whatever reason, he's got some kind of. They did a good job, I thought, of getting him in situations that really suited him. He's got kind of some pet starts to the offense that he's really perfected, where he, really races it up the side and throws it ahead and changes directions and pushes off and gets the ball back. And, he can do, like, you probably saw one the other night in Washington. He did like 4 actions in about 2 seconds. He went one way and hit hand back, and he gave it back, and he spun back around, came off a ball screen. And, like, he really has some uniqueness there of next action basketball. If you, get him in where his comfort zones, which I told you I tried to do the other night when he started. I put in a few of his old kind of stuff that he did, and he looked really good in it. That's one thing too. He's a tremendously physical guy. Remember always saying, like, he's driving you and you're going to have to absorb his contact. I mean, you got to stand in there and take his contact, because he'll put his body and his forearm and his head, anything he can do to get you off him to finish the layup. And it always seems to me that he always has a stretch of the season where he just goes bonkers. And we always seem to be playing him in that stretch. You know what I mean? Like 5 games in a row where he scores 25 points. And then here we are rolling into town, and you're like, my God, this guy's playing incredible. Right. So those are my thoughts on Gorn.
We spoke to the 3 guys, assuming Utah ends up with one of the spots, who are fighting for those other spots. How do you continue to evaluate them since there are only practices left, and do you have a date you want to make that decision by?
Well, I think we probably have a deadline date here coming up soon. We'll probably take it to that point. Again, you just never know, what may happen or could happen. So we'll take it to the deadline. And, I'm evaluating it. I am evaluating it. I'm looking at experience and position and how they've played. I think you could make a case probably for all of them. I think they're all, quality people. I think they're all hard workers. I think they all couldn't chip in, right, when needed. And it's just going to be a matter of us figuring that out.
Was it, I mean, that run against Washington where like Freddie probably, I know he was swing, but he had one of his best spurts at that, and Decker obviously went on ish, had a good spurt. Like, was it sort of a breakdown? This decision is.
Well, even Yuta played great, right? Like really confident. I thought Isaac, when we gave him an early run, came in and impacted the game, the home game there. I think Ish made a couple of shots, when it was going. Heck, even some of those other, David Johnson came in and nailed a couple against Boston. I mean, obviously he's in the situation he's in, and so is Justin, so that those guys aren't in this conversation. And then, of course, Sam went bonkers there in Washington, right? So yeah, it has been difficult. It's good. It's good that they've all made you think about it, right? It's shows there's something there, I think, for sure. Yeah, usually is, yeah. Yeah, they're here. They practiced. Little difficult to see a whole lot. Today was, we just did a bunch of kind of teaching stations today, and they obviously are having to learn right from scratch. So my thoughts so far would be they look okay out there, man. They're trying hard to learn the stuff. They're moving good. They're both good athletes. Got to dig into them a little bit more. They'll probably both be enrolled in the shooting school here some point later on today, and be at the shooting school tonight. So we'll just keep evaluating from there.
One more weird one for you. I think you have sort of a general philosophy that it's good for children to take up multiple sports.
Yes.
Why do you think it's good to diversify? And that'd be some basketball players.
Well, I just think, first of all, that just diversifying in general is a good way to go about things, right? So when you throw it over to sports, I think, especially at a young age, if a kid shows some interest or enjoyment out of it, I think you let them roll with it, because I'm just not sure I just don't think, it could turn out a lot of different ways as they grow, and as, whatever they end up deciding to do. That's one thing. And then I also think that, there's a lot of kind of lifelong sports that are really good, right? There's running, golf, tennis, you name it, right? There's many of them that I think they'll want to enjoy when their careers or their time when they're actually eligible to play, or whatever the case may be is over. And I think that's always good to let them learn some of the ins and outs of those sports.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good.
Just thinking of the transition game, I know you said before that, it might look different this season in terms of different players around the board pushing it up to the court, but by having so many 6'9" guys that can do that, is that also a way of exploring just how far transition can go?
I don't know about that. I don't know if I've considered it on the volume scale. I think what what I think we're getting to, or trying to get to, is we just think that the skill is there, right? With a lot of guys to bring it. I think it's the fastest way to do it. You snap a rebound down and you're heading the other way, and the other guy should be already in stride hitting it. And I think it gives teams different looks coming down the floor in defensive transition. I just think that all of a sudden, you guys can picture playing against us, or coming down and Mark Gasol and Serge Ibaka at the top of the key every possession after possession after possession, because they're helping on the guard who's bringing it. Right. So we're just trying to move some of those pieces, and maybe some of those pieces won't be as familiar with how to do some of those things. I think we've seen some of that. Right. Part of why we're scoring in transition so much is the just coming at them from different positions and different people and stuff like that. That's probably more of it than volume. It's kind of fun to experiment with when you got the guys that can do it. I think the players are having fun with it. And I think I don't know, I like it when I see Precious snap a rebound and come out of there with it. I'm like, all right, this is going to be cool. What's going to happen? And then he lays it in the other end. I said, see, that was cool. Right. It's interesting. We'll see how long we keep riding this.
Just league wide in terms of offensive rebounding, I just think they're prioritizing transition. Do you feel there's some low hanging fruit there? To that level?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're talked about this too. We're trying to make an emphasis on that for a number of reasons. And a lot of it has to do with, we just think we got some guys that can offensive rebound, right? We got some size and some athleticism, some length. And if we can, it's one of those, it's kind of one of those weird things in coaching where, yeah, we do block out drills, right? And we say, hey, we want to get on the glass, but well, that's good to say that, but now we got to come up with that's our goal to rebound. And we got to come up with a plan, how we're going to do it. What's it look like schematically? What are the drills that do it? What every day, how can we teach it and get better at it? So we're trying to do a little bit more of that this year. Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit on that, those lines, like center, grab rebounding, there's still some other kind of conventions of the game that hard and
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, I don't want to say we're ignoring them, right? Right. I wouldn't say that you're not going to see, Fred bringing it down with Precious trailing quite a bit, right? and it's not like we can't do that. Other things are we're again, like if you're looking at us coming up the floor and for whatever reason, two guards are one bringing them and one's trailing, right? We normally wouldn't do that, but we're doing some of that. So when you hit the guard and he hits the next guy, now he's in the ball screen setting. So you're going to see a lot of, you might see Goran swinging it to Kim and going to set a ball screen for Kim, right? That's unconventional. But that's kind of what we're doing here. We're trying to move all the pieces. It depends on where you break out and where you end up. And you could end up in a lot, one of 5 places. And then the actions are still the same. And then you just change them. If going swinging it to Freddie, it's probably not going to be a screen, but it's going to be some type of slip out to mess up the switching, or, or a fake screen and cut to the basket or whatever. So there's lots going into it. There's lots of thought and lots of options and lots of different looks. So we'll see.
I mean, I don't know, year 5 or 10 years ago, whatever it might be. Did this kind of approach the game, did it seem inevitable to you? And you're just kind of waiting for the ball. I guess my point, like I was watching 20-year-old game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just 20 years ago, it wasn't that long. Watching where they're playing, it looks ridiculous now.
Sure, different, right? Yeah, it's different. I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't know if any of us sat here at some point and said like the amount of threes are going to be double what they were 7 years ago, or whatever the number is. I'm sure some of you guys know exactly what it is, but it's probably double 7 years ago, which is like, you got to be kidding me, right? You would, 7 years ago, if you just said, hey, I bet you in 7 years, or nobody would. It just kind of does evolve pretty quickly, though. I think the speed, your point, the speed of what it's happening is ever evolving, right? I mean, it's like, It's like switching defenses, right? That used to be, no accountability and no toughness and no this and that. You can't switch all this stuff or whatever. And now, like every time you turn around, every team switching everything. So that's changed really quickly in the last whatever. And I guess it's just in counter to the offense moving so fast. I said that maybe a couple of years ago. I kept saying is the offense has evolved and the defense is coming next. It's going to have to, right? And
And the physiology of the play.
I just think, Doug, it's probably like anything else. Somebody sees a team doing something, shooting a lot of threes. Golden State, San Antonio, they win a bunch of games, and people start saying, "Well, we should shoot more threes." And then they see them switching, and they say, "Well, they're winning." I think that's probably more of it than and just stylistically, it's just kind of what's happening. I think.
But these guys of a certain size and ability to be able to switch those two. A bunch of 6'8" guys.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's always like, again, you can just say, hey, we're going to switch everything. There's always about plan B, C, D, E, and F that come. Well, what happens when we switch a little onto a big and the big rolls us in the post? How we guard in the post? Well, we're going to do this. Well, what if they throw it in there? Well, if he's good now, we're going to have to double team him. How are we going to double team? We're going to double team from here to there. How are we going to rotate? I mean, there's lots that go after just saying we're going to switch things to play all the counters that teams will do back to you once you do all that switching. Getting deep here today, man. Yeah, that's all right. That's good. Yeah. Yep.
Defenses are now maybe catching up to offense.
Well, they're trying to.
They're closer than they were.
They're trying to. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Good.
Donna was up there before you talking about the mental side of learning the defensive scheme. How much responsibility do you and your coaching staff take for that? How much do you rely on veterans?
Did you say defensive or offensive? Defensive. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we certainly put a lot of responsibility on our coaching staff to be able to organize it in a relatable fashion quickly, right? It's got to make some sense, when they see the whole thing of it. And then it obviously takes some daily work and drill work, and again, organized so that things kind of build. When this happens, you do this, and when that happens the other way, you do this, and all those kind of things. And then obviously, it takes time. I always keep saying that, new guys or young guys in this league, defense is different in the NBA for sure. And they got to learn how fast things happen and where those rotations are. And that just takes time of the daily practice, the games, the film, back to practice, over and over usually. And then of course our guys that know it will always be out there, coaching them, telling them this is how we do it. And this is what we do. And this is how it goes for sure.